Well, I can't come all the way to Perrysburg without giving a huge shout out to my home campus of West Toledo. I love you guys and proud to represent that whole family here today. And since most of you don't know me, I figured I'd go ahead and get started by introducing you to my immediate family. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Brandy, for 7 years now. Fun fact, she's from Alaska, which means she's tougher than 49 out of 50 Americans. And then our oldest daughter, Michaela, here, her personality perfectly depicted in this picture. She's this 4-year-old girly girl who loves unicorns and princesses and everything pink. And she has future aspirations to be a dolphin trainer, so looking forward to that. Our 5-month-old Riker, he's the youngest, and unfortunately my wife won't let me take him to the gym yet. But like any good son, he's already finding ways to get competitive with his old man. So right now he's giving me a run for my money in the hair growth department. And I'm getting pretty jealous of his hairline. And that leads me to our middle child, Harper, who's going to spring us into our conversation today. She's just this little bubbly ball of cuteness, but she's also in this 2-year-old toddler stage. Some of you have experienced this, right? There's a whole lot of talking and not a lot of listening going on. And I mean, if you just think about it, have you ever tried to have a conversation with a toddler? Like, if so, you'll quickly learn a few things about communication and listening. In fact, Harper and I were just out in the yard the other week, and I got a quick video of a conversation we were trying to have, and I want you to see if you can tell what she's saying. Check this out. Where are you going? Where are you going? She is so cute. I'll be honest, I had no idea what she was saying. I still don't. I had my wife Brandy come and interpret for me because I've just lost, right? But what you'll learn talking with the toddler is that in communication, there can be a huge gap between hearing and understanding, right? And you know this, if you've ever had to try to explain something to someone like 17 times, and eventually you're just giving them this face right here. And after the 17th time, right, you just want to blurt out, if you would just shut up and listen, right? Listen, it's a lost art in our day, in our culture. And if you've been around the block, you've heard that said before. But a lot of times we don't ask the why, right? Our culture values speed and convenience, neither of which listening is. It's not fast, and it sure as heck doesn't feel convenient. And then when we do listen, it's kind of with this intent to respond or move things along our own preset agenda. That's not listening, right? True listening is seeking to understand the meaning of the words being spoken and the one speaking them. But that's hard to do when everybody wants to talk and nobody wants to listen, right? I mean, just look at the way we harness social media. We'll get upset or agitated about something, jump on Facebook and throw our opinion out there, not because we want dialogue, right? I mean, we kind of get annoyed when somebody actually counters us on that. I've never met the person who said, I actually changed my view because of that angry rant you posted. I've never, that person that's like, I used to view it this way, and I read your angry rant, your one-sided article, completely changed my whole way of thinking, totally over here now. I've never met that person, right? Because we approach communication with this idea, let me talk at you, not to you, or not with you. And this affects so many of our relationships. Just think maybe at work with your coworkers, in our marriages with our spouses, in our families with our parents to children, parents to students. I've been in student ministry for 6 years now, and I've seen over and over again where there'll be a student just crying out to be heard. And they're just crying out to be understood. And then you interact with a parent and they're like, man, my child just won't listen to me. They don't understand anything. They don't even respect me enough to try. I read this quote the other week, said, people do what people see. It made me think, what if the reason our children don't listen to us, right, is because throughout their life they've been observing us not listen to and not really seek to understand others. And now they're just emulating us. Right? It's a sobering thought, the fact that the things I get most frustrated with my kids about are the things that are probably my deepest issues. Yeah. And this issue of not listening, then it affects so much in our society, and our kids see that. Right? Our political scene, just one party talking at another. The moral issues we face, we believe somebody should live a certain way and we'll vocalize it without first understanding why they live the way they do. Or the religious issues we face, which I think those of us who claim to be religious sometimes can be the worst at this. So how are we supposed to operate? Like, how are we supposed to enter into this desire to always talk and never listen? Well, thankfully, King Solomon in the book of Proverbs gave us some wisdom on how to enter into this desire to always talk and never listen. And we see it in Proverbs 11:12. He writes this, whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. So our world operates completely opposite of this verse. We kind of operate with the idea that the one who understands the most or seems to understand the most speaks the most. And the one who doesn't understand just kind of sits quietly in the corner receiving the information, right? Just think about maybe at work, like that last meeting you were in, your family get-togethers, our education system, right? It's just kind of the way we've wired ourselves to work. And then we accept the fact that the one who seems to understand the most, like if I think I understand the most, I can just jump in, cut off, interrupt. Right? What is that, right? Interrupting or cutting someone off, other than saying, what I have to say is more important. Like, my thoughts are more important than your thoughts. It's belittling. Ultimately, it's us lacking the sense to see the value and the worth of the other person. Solomon writes in the second half, but a man of understanding remains silent. So a silent mouth and a listening ear reveal that I value not just what you're saying, but I value you as a human being because I understand that you matter. And this is the way that Jesus approached relationships. And if we follow him, it's the way we should be approaching relationships. So you look at Philippians 2, where it says you're to have the mind of Christ, or the same attitude that Jesus had, which is what? In humility, counting others more significant than yourselves. In fact, I think this is why Jesus was so popular among the marginalized, the downtrodden, the outcast, right? Because he sought to understand those that no one valued and no one cared for. I mean, just look at the extent he went to understand us. He lived among us, became human, suffered and died on the cross in our place so that by believing in him, we can have a relationship with God. We can have a relationship with him. So now there's nothing you can say, right? There's nothing you can experience in this life that Jesus doesn't understand. And if we want to understand others the way Jesus did, then we should value the act of listening, because it's more than just about what they're saying, but it shows that you value them as a human being. And you can do this, right? We can do this. I think you want to do this because there's more adventure for us when we apply the bottom line that we find here. There's more adventure for us when we just shut up and listen. And you may not use that phrase in your house, but man, I'm telling my kids to shut up all the time. I'm just kidding. I don't really. They're awesome. But that's really what we see there. Right? That's what Solomon's saying. He's just saying, shh, 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 shh. Be quiet. Like, embrace the silence, because it's in the silence that you understand how important the people around you really are. So how can we do that? How can we put this into practice? Well, I think there's two things that you can do today to start this. And the first, ask questions. Just ask, help me understand type of questions. Like, go into the conversation assuming you don't understand. And then instead of having this preset agenda, you can interact with the information you're receiving and formulate questions to help you understand better. And second, avoid fixing. Any of you married guys out there probably know what I'm talking about, because I know I am horrible at this with my wife. She'll come home from work or wherever and tell me about some issue or something that happened. And because I'm like a lot of you guys, I'm a fixer. I want to jump right in and fix the problem, fix the issue. You know, I want to pull out the whiteboard. I'm just, here's your issue, and 4-step process to fix it. She's just giving me that look, you know, that some of you guys are getting right now. And I'm like, well, she obviously just doesn't understand. I have to explain further, which ends up 10 minutes later with me being in trouble for buying the wrong diapers 2 months ago. I don't know how we get there. Like, how do we even get here? Oh, because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. That's right. What I found over the last 7 years of marriage is that she doesn't want me to fix the issue. She's more than capable of solving the problem on her own. And she wants me to listen and to empathize, to enter in and feel what she's feeling in that situation. And so I've started getting a few phrases down lately. Guys, feel free to use these, like ones that kind of I understand. That must be hard. Or I go back to number one, and I'll be like, how does that make you feel? Got that from a movie. Don't tell her. Works great. Yeah, it's just when you're in a conversation, when you're hearing, when you're listening, don't jump to the solution. Just listen. And you'll find if you ask good questions and you avoid fixing that, a lot of times they'll actually ask you, hey, what would you do? And then if you understand what's going on, you can give some solid advice. But hey, I know this type of communication is hard, but it's so worth it. Because there's so much more adventure for us when we just shut up and listen. Like, for just a moment, imagine with me what our world could be like. Right? What Northwest Ohio could look like, what the relationships in your own life could be like if we saw others through the same lens that Jesus sees them. If we saw them with the same value and worth and dignity that Jesus sees them with, man, we would seek to listen to understand. People would feel valued, they'd feel loved, they feel cared for. Man, that'd be awesome. And you can start that right now, today, by asking yourself this one simple question. And it's this: who do I need to shut up and listen to today? Thank you.